All right, hello and welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite races of the year, the Giro De San Francisco. Roll the intro. All right, here we go. We are at the 2024 Giro De San Francisco. This is the Cat 3 race. It took place in the middle of the day. We've got sunny, beautiful conditions. It's a 50-minute race. There's about 45 of us here on the line. Lots of good talent. In some ways, there's better talent than even I had realized. There were some day of registers who are super strong. I've got two teammates in this race with me riding for Dolce Vita. I've got Ringo, and we've got Mike, a recent addition to our team. Coming into the day, the only real plan was to stay near the front, to stay out of all of the messes that can ensue on a kind of a semi-technical course. Crashes, drop chains, flats, road furniture coming up and getting you, etc. And see toward the end of the race if we could get connected and start riding as a team. Now we're in lap one. We're heading up the first little kicker. And that guy that just went by me in the black suit, I don't know it, but that's Harry Elworthy. Harry raced with our team 1 or 2 years ago for a brief bit of time, and he's a name that's worth remembering because he is very strong. He won the Red Bull Bay Climb. He was a very strong junior in New Zealand, I think, competing in the or winning, or I've heard things about how good his results were in the U23 national level for New Zealand. So I don't know that that's him, but we have got a lot of work cut out for ourselves if we're going to deal with him. Frankly, he's just very strong. So anyway, this is Bell Lap. I'm now pulling up alongside my teammate Ringo. The course is your pretty standard fare. We've got the L shape. We've got the little kicker that you go up, you head down. The backstretch is a slight downhill into a really sweet double right-hand chicane. Bell lap, set it up. Let's talk about some other stuff. One of the things I want to talk about is how to anticipate where the next move will come from and what side of the road it will come from. So we're maybe 10 or 12 minutes into the race. We're coming down the finish line straight away, and the pace comes out. And I say, hey, there's going to be an attack on the left. I tell Ringo, I said, hey, watch for it. And sure enough, right there, that's Matt Lynn on Work Health. Matt attacks hard through this, and I knew that there would be someone coming through here. And I wanted to spend a second talking about how do you get that race sense to know when an attack is going to come. And simply put, if you're riding and it just feels too easy, or you're going slower than you did in previous laps, take a look at where you are on the road and see where the gaps are where an attack could come from. If you're in the middle of the road, it could come from either side. But in our case, we were on the right-hand side of the road. I knew there was no opportunity over there. The attack has to come from the left, and you can anticipate that move and actually start pedaling beforehand and follow it if you want to. So that's just kind of a race sense thing. Here's Harry moving inside. Another thing I want to discuss is kind of race courtesy early on in the race versus late in the race. That move was fine. I felt him on the inside. We're only 15 minutes into this race. We're not into the decisive parts of the race. I elected to give him the space that he needed to come through, with the understanding that we're not at a point in the race where there's a ton of consequence for letting him through. Now, if it's closer to the end of the race, if we're within 5 laps to go, I'm definitely closing down that line and not letting him through. I'm going to force him to really hit his brakes or run into the side of me, and I'm going to close that door off. And while you could do that early on in the race, right? You could close the door on people early in the race. it just might not always benefit you in the end, if and when you need someone to help you, or you want to ride a wheel at the end if they remember that, right? Yeah, it's one of those things. You could close the door from lap 1 if you want, but as a courtesy, early on in the race, we're typically giving each other more space and letting each other slot in. So that was one other thing I want to discuss. Let's see, we're now 20 some odd minutes into the race. We've got a small break up the road, and out of the right-hand side here, I see this Mike's Bikes Devo rider, Matt Vink. Vink is a very strong sprinter. He's won a couple races this year. He does really well in the closing laps of races, and he was chomping at the bit to close this down and put some speed into the group. And I wanted to move with this move because he is a marked rider. He's someone that I'm keeping my eyeball on as the race progresses. So, yeah, that's just one thing. If you know individuals are fast and you know that they finish well, you should do some quick math and decide, is that a move that is worth going into or not, and be decisive about it. And in this case, when he went by me, I got the feeling that if I let it go, it's going to be really hard at the back when the rubber band gets stretched, or it could just be hard where I'm at now. So yeah, I followed that move. Then right here, man, that junior actually just spit on me. Yeah, not really cool. Don't spit on people in races. I'm really not a germaphobe, and I kind of don't take it too seriously, but some people might freak out if you went and you spit and it hit them. I think I made a comment like, hey, COVID's going around, don't do that. So I try to keep it lighthearted, but there will be people who are very angry at you. Just keep that in mind. Let's see, what else? Oh, I wanted to highlight a team here. The Tarun development squad. They're in the blue jerseys. They're off to the left. They were doing an incredible job all race of racing aggressively and using their numbers to actually put pressure on the field. So you just saw that Tarun rider was sipping his bottle down the straightaway, taking it easy. He's on the front. Boom, counterattack from his teammate. They did this multiple times throughout the race, and we're at the end of the season now. I've spent a lot of time riding with this team, or against this team, that is, and they've done a really great job all season of utilizing their numbers and utilizing their strengths and operating as a team and doing this attack, counterattack kind of formula that it's not that hard to do. It's not rocket science, but you do need to have enough fitness and cohesion as a team to execute on it. And they did it this race. So I wanted to give kudos to them. They've been a influential and I would say really well-run team in the Cat 3s this year. So pretty awesome stuff. And they did that all race, as well as close down a number of the breakaways that went up the road. We had probably 4 different moves that went up the road that were of reasonable concern, either containing Eamon or Harry or another strong rider, and there were multiple times where they hit the front and brought it back. So yeah, just want to call that out. We're getting deeper into the race now. We're 40 minutes into this race. Lap cards are out, and you might notice something, and that is the group has tightened up. Like, everyone is now in a more compact space. There's not as much room between each rider. The amount of breathing room or space to move left or right is starting to get tighter. And this is just something that happens, and I've noticed it in the 3s more than when I was in the 4 and 5s, and it's more controlled, but everyone starts to kind of clamp down and not really give as much room as they used to. They start fighting for wheels a little bit more, and every time the lap counter ticks down, you kind of ratchet up that just a little bit more every lap, boop, 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 until within 2 or 3 to go, it's like no one's going to be taking my line. And in the 3s, it kind of takes place in a semi-controlled way. 4.5s, it's sometimes just chaotic because people just don't want to let you by, and they don't have like any. There isn't as much positioning or technique for doing it because you're just a newer racer usually. But yeah, the belt is being tightened, and we're at 5 to go. I'm on Ringo's wheel, and going into this race, at the start of this video, I said I want us to get formed up with 5 to go, and that's exactly what Ringo and I did. I believe Mike is back there as well. He ends up getting caught in a crash. I don't know if it's this lap or next lap, but there was like a small crash at the top of this right-hand corner, either this lap or the next lap, that kind of took him out of the equation. But my whole thing is I want to get on Ringo's wheel, and I want Ringo to get on my wheel, and us to, as a unit, move forward. Now, I've already started to not do that, right? I've already started to lose that, but he's in front of me, and I'm constantly looking at where he is at in the group, and trying to get reconnected with him, right? So it's not something that I've perfected at all. It's very hard to do this, and I need a lot more practice with staying on a certain wheel as the race comes to a close and as the speed picks up and things get a little tighter, right? That kind of skill set of being able to hold a wheel and kind of command your space efficiently, I definitely have work to do there. But the key is we did get connected with 5 to go, and now it's in my mind. I need to get back to Ringo and kind of start working with him. Now, in this corner, there's a little bit of an issue. Is a squeeze. Ringo gets, I think somebody's front wheel gets caught. Ringo gets pushed behind me, but now we're back together, and that's kind of that caginess that starts to come in now that we're at three laps to go, 4 laps to go. No one wants to give any space, and the corners get really tight. So Ringo's now on my wheel. I start thinking, okay, we as a unit need to go forward. I see an attack kind of go at the front. Things look like they're getting hard. And yeah, so we're moving right along here. And now we're going to go into 2 to go. And just before 2 to go, I think... oh, yeah. I kind of tell Ringo, I say, hey, it's no more giving us spots. We just have to move forward. So that's the mentality. That's something I've been trying to put into play this season, is in the closing laps, just thinking to myself, one more person. I need to get another person. I need to get one more person. This corner, I'm going to get one person, 2 people, until I'm in the position that I want to be in. So this is 2 to go. I'm a little far back here with 2 to go, right? The race is definitely on. Also, I haven't mentioned it yet, but I don't have power up. The power meter on my bike died the night before the race, and for some reason, I thought maybe it was just a connection issue when I got going, and I'd fix it after I got here. The battery was dead, so I don't have power today. I was pretty sad about that. Mostly for you guys. I don't really look at power that often when I'm racing. But yeah, Ringo took a wicked outside line there to move himself into a pretty good position. We're 2 to go, and really it's time to just push the pedals. You shouldn't be coasting a whole lot like we are right now. And if you see others coasting like this, try to see if there's an opportunity to move up while they're doing that, right? The bike, the power should be down at this point for the next lap or two. Just straight on, like, you want to take a break, but you can't really. The reality is you can't. You have to push the pedals and move forward. And if you're not moving forward, you're probably going backward. So here's Bell Lap. Things are really cooking. We're doing 33 miles an hour into the headwind. And not really the best position. Again, I'm too far back. I'm about 6 wheels too far back. And I'm letting Ringo know I'm on his wheel, and I'm saying, hey, let's try to see if we can make this up and get into contention for a top 5, because right now we're not close enough for a top 5. So I'm talking with Ringo. I'm saying, hey, we can do this. If the lines are right, we can make this happen. And right here is the decisive moment when I think I threw away my opportunity at a top 5. I should have pressed on the pedals and stayed ahead of that Mike Spikes Devo rider and kept pushing to try and maintain and kind of be that 20 feet up the road that I'm not anymore. So learnings, always learning. But really, you just can't take a break. You got to be willing to push the pedals really hard. I took a pretty awesome, sneaky outside line here. Managed to get like 4 or 5 or 6 spots. But I'm out of contention because the top 6 guys are now disconnected. And kind of this remnant sprint occurs to see like who gets top 10. I rolled in for 11th. Felt like a hard race. The winner was Harry. Harry won it in the end. That's not too big of a surprise, if I'm being honest. He is a very fast rider. He comes from a U23 racing background in his home country. And so maybe a little bit of sandbagging there happening, but he doesn't do a lot of races. I think this was maybe his only race this year. Overall good race. We're right to the end of the season. The Oakland Grand Prix is next. I will be doing that one, and then that will be the end of my season. It'll be time to wrap up. So hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you out there on the next one. Peace.